Hi everyone, Miss Kelley here, and I'm going to read one of my favorite books for you. And hope you're having a good break and know that I miss you. The book title is Three Bears in a Boat by David Solomon. Once there were three bears, Dash, Charlie, and Theo, who lived by the sea. Each doing their own activity. We have one flying a kite, hula hoop, who's been doing hula hoops in PE, and one building a sandcastle. One day when their mother was out, the three bears did something they really shouldn't have, and with a crash, their mother's beautiful blue seashell lay scattered in pieces across the floor. The seashell, but it looks like they're trying to get something up here. Afraid of their mother, who after all was a bear, the three fled from their house down to the beach and huddled behind their boat. Theo whispered nervously, "What should we do?" Charlie just crossed her arms and stared out at the sea. It was Dash, as usual, who had an idea. What if we find another blue seashell and put it back before Mama gets home? She'll never even know anything happened. Think that's a good idea?
Nope.
Charlie and Theo smiled, and so just like that, the sly bears slid their boat into the sea and set sail. Their sail flew open like a wing, and the boat flashed across the water. Dotting the sea around their home were many other bears in boats. Surely one of them would know where they could find a blue seashell. But the bears on the first boat didn't have any idea where to look. The bears in the second boat were a little confused. Looks like we've got a panda bear and maybe a polar bear. Not quite sure the area. And the bears in the third boat seemed a bit busy. They're out looking for something. Then they met a big, salty bear and asked him if he knew where any blue seashells might be. The salty bear looked them up and down with his keen old sailor eyes. "I reckon I might," he said. "A ways over yonder," he told them, "is an island shaped like a lumpy hat. On that island there may be a seashell, a beautiful blue one. It could be under water, or in the tallest tree, or on the very top of the mountain. It might even be hidden in a cave. I'm not dead certain, but if you look in the right place, I reckon you'll find it." As he began to motor away, the three little bears yelled their thanks to him. "Just look in the right place," he said with a wave of his big old paw. Excited and sure that they would soon have a new shell for their mother, the three bears sailed on. They sailed past islands that looked like a lot of fun. Look at there, Ferris wheel. And past some that maybe didn't. A little spooky for that one. Their voyage was not without incident. Someone's carrying them along.
A whale.
They sailed on further than they had ever gone before. They sailed until the island rose in a hump before them and began to search for the seashell. They didn't find it underwater. Looking in the fish's mouth.
No.
Wasn't in the trees, not on the top of the mountain. Then they found a small cave. "I'm not going in there," squeaked Theo. "It's dark." "But this has to be the right place," said Dash, peering in. "We've looked everywhere else." Then Charlie walked inside. "Bears afraid of a cave?" she snorted, and the other two followed. Inside the cave was small and dark, and there was definitely no blue seashell.
No.
The three were most unhappy and stared at each other with very squinty, very mad bear eyes all the way back to their boat. They had no blue seashell, and they felt very far from home. Back on the boat, the three bears began to argue. Dash said to Theo, "Well, we're all stuck out here because you broke the seashell." And Theo yelled, "It's Charlie's fault because she was too wobbly." And Charlie groaned, "No, I wasn't. And it was Dash's idea to sneak the honey in the first place." Remember above the fireplace there was the jar of honey? And round they went, getting madder and louder, yelling and pointing their paws at each other. They didn't even notice how the sky had been turning darker and darker, and how the sea had turned rougher and rougher until... boom! A bolt of lightning.
Boom.
Dash, Charlie, and Theo were scared. They didn't care whose fault it was anymore. They were all in the same boat. Wet and blinking, the three bears looked at each other, and Dash said, "It was my really bad idea." And Theo said, "It was an accident, but I did knock the shell over." And Charlie said, "Well, I guess I was sort of wobbling." They reached out their paws and clung each other very tightly. And then, like turning a page, the little boat sailed out of the storm and into the sun. The three bears floated on water as smooth and calm as glass. The storm already seemed far, far behind them. And straight ahead, was their very own island. The bears set sail for home. They knew what they had to do. Have some ideas about what they need to do, maybe? They pulled their boat up on their own shore, and at the edge of the beach sat a beautiful blue seashell. Picking up the shell, Dash remembered the words of the old salty bear. "So this was the right place?" he asked, looking at his brother and sister. Then the three bears walked up the long dune to their house. Mama was waiting for them. "I'm sorry I broke your shell," said Theo. "Me too," said Dash. "Me three," said Charlie. "But look what we found for you." Dash held up the beautiful new shell. And Mama Bear, being a mother, looked at each one of her three little bears, hugged them all very, very tight, kissed the tops of their furry heads, and forgave them. Then she brought them inside for a warm supper. But they didn't get any dessert. Didn't get any because they broke her seashell. Hope you guys enjoyed this and have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye from Miss Kelley.